Dave knows how.
Okay, so welcome back. Right now what we're doing is we're gonna set up the actual control knob with the switches on it. And as I stated before, I think I'm not crazy about the switch that goes on the loader arm that's from Land Pride and WR Long and places like that. Wanted something more rounded, so we ordered this cue ball shifter knob off Amazon. We've got it chucked up into the lathe. We're not going to precisely dial this thing in, but we're going to get it relatively close. So looking down on here, we can see that we've got our center finder for a round piece of stock set up in here. And we're just kind of leaning it against the ball and lining it up eyeball with the drill bit that's in there so that we can get an idea of, you know, how it's going to drill. And we've got the compound slide rotated around so that when we screw it in, it's going to travel in this direction and drill a hole into this round ball. So I went around and I set this thing up out there on the tractor and kind of eyeballed with my hand on the control where roughly I wanted these switches to be at. So it looked like I had one that I wanted lined up somewhere around in here. I'm going to see if we can find a hole that we can line up with. We got a little place on this lathe that we can indicate to for like indexing, and we're going to index to this hole right here. We're just going to color it in with a Sharpie, and that's going to be one hole. And then we're going to travel around, and the next hole is going to be probably about somewhere right in there. So let's see which one that is. That can be this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and color this hole in. And then we're going to rotate on around, and this is going to be the bottom, and that's going to be about right there. We're going to can't get the thing to back out here. So that's going to be right around in there. Okay. So rotating back around to here, here, and it's right here. Alright, so that's the first hole right there that we're going to drill. And we need to make sure that the chuck is tight. Whoop, I almost dropped that on my foot. Okay, and then that is where we're going to drill it right there. So I'm going to turn it on. Whoops. So we've got this thing. This is something that I built from Harbor Freight. One of those cheap Harbor Freight tools. Let's go for it. Okay, so there's one hole. And we're going to pull this out if we can. She's in there tight. I'm going to rotate this around to the next one, which is right around in here. Okay, we'll drill this one. Okay, and then take it around again, right around in here. Looks like that one. Looks like it. Didn't end up in a hole there. What's going on? What's this one? There we go. He's in there now. Okay. So now we've got 3 pilot holes drilled, and basically from here we're just gonna drill this the rest of the way by hand, if at all possible. Go ahead and move this out of the way. And we're just going to drill these on in, making them a little bit bigger each go round. So we got a bit right here, it's a little bit bigger than that. And hopefully, since we got this pilot hole, hopefully these bits will follow that hole. Well, this switch right here, this is going back. You know, I just took the caliper to measure to see what this thing was like, and the whole switch fell apart. So we're definitely not going to use this switch. This switch right here is junk. So this switch is going back. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Anybody that can't sell a product any better than that, that's ridiculous. So anyway, we're going to pack that back up. I've got two other switches in the house that are a different style. We're going to use those. And I seen these and I really wanted to use these, but you know, made in China, and it's basically junk. So I think I paid $8 a piece for them darn things. They're going back for sure. Okay, so we got, this is a different style switch. This one's black. I don't know if you can see that, But, you know, it's the same style. It's just made by a different company and seems to work a lot better. The thing I didn't like about this one was it's a solder joint, and the other one had a mechanical joint. I'd rather have the mechanical. 466. We gotta find a drill bit that'll fit that. It looks like it right there. Let's see. We'll run this one in there first. Going slow. Okay. So now this should go right down in there. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. Not sure if that's showing up on the camera or not, but yeah, that don't look bad. And we'll probably take this lock nut off and put it on there without the lock nut. So we don't need that. Put some hot glue in there and glue that thing in place. Pull that lock nut off, set him aside. Let's see how that fits. Oh man, that looks pretty good. And we'll put the other one right there, and the cord is going to come out the bottom down here. So hopefully when we're holding this thing, we can hit this to close, hit this to open, maybe. Something like that. I don't know. It's a work in progress. Let's keep getting it. I'm going to go ahead and put my switch back in the little packet here so we don't lose it. Kind of small. These little switches were kind of pricey for what they are. Like $8 a piece. No matter where you bought them, they were about $8 a piece, which I thought was a little high. So I don't know. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to try to bore the inside of this thing out. So we're going to unscrew this off of here. Like that. And then I want to reach up inside of there with something. Let's see if we can. Okay, it looks like we can reach in there with this boring tool and see if we can't bore the inside of this thing out and make that work. Okay, so let's move some things around and get set up to do that. I'm going to move this back around here. Like this. We're not really worried about putting it on 29.5 degrees yet. We'll worry about that later. If we start cutting threads or something like that, we'll worry about that. I'm going to take this and bring it around. Try to flatten that against there. Hopefully, now we know that that's pretty straight. Put that on there. Okay. We're going to pop this off of there. Don't think we're going to need that. And Pop that loose. Take this chuck off. We're going to put this bigger chuck on here. Okay. And let's get him opened up. Big enough that this ball will fit in here like that. Okay, so that works. Now we're gonna we got some aluminum shim stock that we're gonna try to use to keep these jaws from scratching this ball. We're gonna set this in here, put the shim stock in here on each jaw. I'm gonna seat this ball all the way in the back of that chuck. And then we're going to line this bore up with this live center by just putting the live center in here. Okay, so I'm going to put the live center in there, and you can see that putting that live center in there rotated that ball around and got it straight. And we're just going to put a little bit of tension on there. We're loose on the jaws. Okay, we're going to rotate around, rotate around, rotate around, and we're holding pressure on this end of the tailstock, screwing this into there to try to line this thing up. Now we're going to start rotating this around till it hits, and then this one, and then this one, and the whole time we're holding pressure back there. And again, and again. Okay, and we're going around and just snug it up just a little bit. And hopefully, I don't want to crank down on this thing too hard because I don't want to indent that ball. That would really suck. So we'd have to start all over, right? Get her another ball and the whole 9 yards. Which I'm not thinking we're going to do that. So, okay, so now we got our boring tool in here. We're going to go back to the back, and we're going to mark how deep that is. Right about there. Come back out and maybe we'll measure that and see how deep that is. So it's a little over 1 inch deep. I may bore down in there a little bit deeper. Let's look at doing that. Let's bore down in there a little bit deeper. It's only 1 inch deep, a little over 1 inch deep. So it's like 1 inch, 182 thousandths deep. And I think this ball is like a little over 2 inches round. So I don't want to go with that. Let's try it with this. I knew this will go in there. I'm going to set that to the back. I'm going to set this on. I'm going to bring this up till it's at 1 inch. I'm sorry, half an inch. Lock this down. We're going to turn it. Well, we got to plug it in first, right? Help if we plug it in. Alright, so we're going to turn it. And we're going to run this in about 1/4 inch more. So we just bottomed out. We're at 1/2 inch on this scale. So we're going to go ahead and bore right on in there. About 1/4 inch deeper. Alright, that's 1/4 inch right there. That's 1/4 inch right there. Okay. And now, stick my head up in there and put an eyeball on it if I can. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna run this boring tool up in there. And I'm hoping that's a good camera view. I don't know if it is or not, but we're just gonna have to hope for the best. Alright, so we're going on in. Go into probably, I guess right there is probably good. That's probably good right there. All right. So we're gonna mark this. That's about where I want to start cutting, I think. All right, so let's cut a little bit. So basically, I'm running this way, and we're just plunging right into the side. We're gonna see how far we can get with it. I mean, we're cutting soft material here, so side cutting like this, we should be fine as long as we don't go crazy with it. Alright, so now we're going to go this way. And we know when we get to that line, we've gone the original depth. And we can actually go another 1/4 inch past that. Okay, so now we're gonna come bring it on back out, and let's get the air compressor and blow that out and see what it looks like. Okay, so we've got this thing poured out pretty good. Let's see if this will go back in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that goes in there alright. Okay, so I'm thinking, let's see, how much room have I got in there? A long way to the end of that. See if I can reach up in there and mark that thing. And I can kind of tell where the end of it is. Oh boy, let's take it on out of there and see what it looks like. Make sure we didn't scratch him up. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Okay, that's not bad. I know I'll never get a good clear shot of this thing with the camera to show you, but so you'll just have to take my word for it. But we reamed out the inside of this thing pretty good. But basically what I'm trying to do is make some relief room for the wire when we put the wire in there. So the switch is going to go in just like that. And I don't know if you can see in there or not, but where you solder on is just barely sticking down into that cavity. And we've got some room up in the very back, way up in there, that we can jam those wires to. And this wire is going to feed up in there like that and go all the way to the back, I hope. And then I'm thinking that once we, you know, get some silicone or hot glue or something in there, it will hold everything in place. I hope. I wish I could cut a little more out in this area, right in here on the sides. I'm plenty deep enough. If I could just cut a little bit more. Don't know. I'd like to keep this chrome collar if I can, because I think that looks nice, and we can bore that out to fit that shaft maybe. But if not, we can make something else to go in there out of a piece of Delrin or something like this, and slide that up in there and cut that hole bigger. That's a possibility. But basically you get the idea. So this wire is going to go up in there, feed them two switches. That's going to go in the loader control arm, and their two switches are going to be here and here. And this white ball, I can tell, is going to get dirty quick. But you know, it's going to get dirty no matter what color it is probably, so doesn't really make a whole lot of difference. Alright, let's do like we always do. When we get to a point like this, we stop, drop back, think about this thing a little bit, and decide if we want to try to come up with another way to cut some more out of the inside of this thing, or if we want to leave well enough alone and proceed on from right here where we're at. Time to ponder.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.